So, good evening. I call this meeting to order. It's Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. Welcome to Chester City Council. We're going to start like we always do with an invocation, and today it will be one of our Chester Police chaplains, Miss Madeline Clauswell. Clauswell?
Awesome.
Clausell. Okay. All right, all rise. Following this, we'll do our Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, in the name of Jesus, we come before you, Lord, thanking you for this day and for this hour, asking you, Lord, that you guide us and direct us like you always have, Father God. More than ever, Lord, we ask you for your knowledge and your wisdom, Lord, because without you, we cannot do nothing, and without you, we are nothing, Lord. And we ask of you, Lord, that you bless us and guide us and direct us and give us a resolution for every situation and every case that are presented here. In Jesus' name, we pray. Padre, en el nombre de Jesús, te damos gloria y te damos honra y te damos gracias porque estamos aquí presentes en esta reunión de consejeros, Señor, pidiéndote, Dios mío, que tú nos dé la sabiduría y el entendimiento, Dios mío, y la respuesta de cada resolución, de cada caso y situación en esta hora, Padre. En el nombre poderoso de Jesús, te lo pedimos. Amén.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Clausell. That was excellent.
Yes.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Everybody's here. Councilors Gibson,
Present.
Green,
Present.
West,
Present.
Davis,
Present.
Mayor Roots.
Present. Good evening, Chester. All of our hearts are heavy as a result of the murder that we've had to experience this week as a city. When we were last here, it was an extension of a meeting that we had to cancel the week before because of other activity out here in these streets that are saddening us. There's no one out here who can ignore the fact that the numbers are trending in a direction we don't like. Officially, there have been 13 homicides in the city since the 1st of January. However, if you want to count, or if you want to take two of them off the list, it's okay, because one of them was the lady who drove up here from Wilmington. That was a justified homicide by the police. The other justified homicide was the one that ended up in Officer Byrne being shot himself. But all others, it's just straight violence out here on these streets. Some of you may have seen the segment on ABC News last night. You know, whenever the mics are on, the cameras are on, they only take selected quotes. So there was a full statement that I've prepared. I'm going to read it now. It's been sent out to the press and to other organizations, and it goes like this. Regrettably, I come before you with a heavy heart as we are once again forced to confront another life cut down far too soon by violence. The shooting death of 17-year-old Sabri Pierce on June 9th is a tragedy, and it is incumbent upon all of us, parents, community leaders, and city officials, to take decisive action to ensure the safety and well-being of all of our residents, particularly our young people. Simply put, we must build a city where people feel safe in their homes, on the streets, in our parks, and in all public areas. So, as a start, and outlined in City Ordinance 721.02, I've instructed the Chester Police Department to redouble its efforts to enforce a curfew for juveniles from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. during the summer months. This curfew is not just about enforcement, it's about protecting our young people from unsafe spaces and behaviors. And let's be clear, the ordinance says summer months, we're starting immediately. But enforcement of a curfew alone only addresses part of the problem. We must also provide our youth with positive alternatives and opportunities for growth, development, and recreation. That's why I'm committed to working with city and civic leaders and young people themselves to seek their help in developing programs and activities that engage our young people in positive and constructive activities. By investing in our youth and providing them with these outlets, we can steer them away from the dangers of the streets and towards a brighter future while also ensuring the safety of all citizens. I'll have more to say about this in the coming days, but let me stress that this effort will require all of us coming together to create a safer and more vibrant community. For now, let us come together as a community to support one another in this time of grief and to take meaningful action and prevent such tragedies from happening again. Our youth are our future, and it is our collective responsibility to ensure that they have every opportunity to thrive. Do we have anyone who will make a motion on approving the minutes from our previous meeting, May 8th, May 29th?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Madam
Councilors Gibson.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes. And this is the time for those of you who are so moved to walk up to the lectern if you have any comments that relate to any of the agenda items presented today. And seeing or hearing none, let's move on. Do we have any old business to share, council? No? Okay. And to be voted on, Madam Clerk, ordinances?
Bill,
Madam Clerk, I'd like to make a motion that we table the ethics ordinance until we've all had a chance to come together with the mayor and get further clarification. So I'm asking that we table it.
I second that motion.
That wasn't a motion.
She asked for.
Yes, for motion? Okay. Any questions or comments? Well, I guess I have a question or comment. You're saying you want us all to get together and do what again?
And discuss this further. We haven't had an opportunity to present this to the employees because it involves the employees of the collective bargaining units. We've not had an opportunity to go over it with them, and it's involving them and their families. So I think that we should table it until we can get further clarification on this document.
Any other comments? All right, I'll just remind everyone that we first received the first draft of the ethics ordinance in February 22nd. Subsequently, there have been other versions that have been presented to everyone. I'm not sure how much longer you need to review it. You've had executive sessions where you've reviewed it.
We had one executive session, and you did not attend.
That's correct.
And you had the information since February. We're just getting it. We got it in May, and we were able to sit with one another, but we do need further clarity because it involves our family members who are not employees here and the employees as well. And for whoever's going to take seat after we leave, it's going to affect them as well. So we really need to have clarity on this document.
All right, I have more than enough evidence to show that in February, I think it was 22nd, the first version of this ethics policy went out. We got no comments from anyone, but you have reviewed it in a In a executive session recently, of which I haven't seen what comments came out of that session, I've included my comments subsequent to the executive session. But it's been so moved and seconded, so I guess we'll be looking at untabling this in 2 weeks. So let's vote. Madam Clerk?
Councilors Gibson?
Yes.
Green?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Roots?
Yes. And we'll go on to the contract approvals. Madam Clerk.
Resolutions, whereas the Chester City Council approved Resolution 18-2024 to enter into a 3-year contract with Colliers Engineering and Design Incorporated to assist with the development of safe street and roads and provide engineering services to meet the city's capital plan needs, assist with ARPA project completion for all action plans to prioritize safety enhancements and justify essential investments. And whereas after further review, the city has determined there are other engineering projects that need completion that can be funded through the general fund and liquid fuels and grants. Now, therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does approve an addendum to the original contract with Colliers Engineering and Design Incorporated, 181 Washington Street, Conshohocken, PA, 19428, Suite 430, to increase the original contract amount of $395,800 to $700,000 to be paid through ARPA funds for a total contract amount of $1 million to include the implementation of the city's GIS program and other engineering projects to be funded through the city's general fund, liquid fuels, and grants. Further, that it does authorize the mayor to execute the addendum for and on behalf of the city of Chester. Further, said addendum is contingent upon final approval of the city solicitor.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Gibson?
Yes.
Green?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Roots?
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby award the contract for the 2024 Summer Food Service Program, for which proposals were received on June 10th, 2024, B, and it is hereby awarded to Penn Homes Cafe at the proposal price of $80,000. Further, the other proposal is hereby rejected. The certified check accompanying said proposal shall be returned to the unsuccessful proposer. Further, that the solicitor's office shall prepare a contract and the successful proposer shall furnish a performance bond in the full amount of the respective contract in accordance with the specifications and to the satisfaction of City Council.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, comments?
I have a question and comment. So we didn't get a chance to all review both the food services for both of the contracted parties. So I thought that was going to happen before we decided to vote on anybody for this for the summer food project. So please inform me on when I missed that, because we had 2 members of council who weren't here at deliberative when they came in and had their presentations and demonstrated what food they'll be offering to our children this summer. So I think it will be important for all members of council to have that information before we decide on who we choose for our summer program. Am I correct?
I believe there's a scoring committee, is that correct?
So correct, when we talked at the deliberative, we said we're going to have a scoring committee. And in that discussion, we were going to have a member of the receiver, a member of council, and members of the actual summer feeding program. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get a member from council because we had to score it yesterday in order to get it to the state, because it's due to the state today in reference to awarding the contract from the state. Remember, this is a reimbursable grant, and the state wanted us to get that information to them today by the close of business.
Thank you.
But we did get together with the members of the summer feeding program, legal, myself. We looked over the actual scoring packets, and we came to this decision here.
Did any members of council receive that scoring package?
I didn't receive a scoring package, but I did get information on the presentations.
Okay, because at deliberative, it was mentioned that it was going to be under review that, or why the numbers were so drastically different for both of these organizations on their bids, and that will be further discussed via today. And I didn't receive any email correspondence or anything from anyone in the last 2 days. So now that this is being rushed, are we now saying that we're canceling the scoring committee and we're no longer having a discussion on why the numbers were so drastically different for both of the bids?
We do have that information, and we can provide that information on why there's a difference in the dollar amount and why the score or this particular vendor was awarded the contract. We do have that information. We do have letters prepared. Again, this was due today, and we just got the information finalized this afternoon.
Okay.
So I can get that to you first thing in the email, first thing in the morning.
I think the process went as designed. We had a scoring committee, the committee scored, and the,
You just said the scoring committee consisted of a member of council, and that didn't
council.
happen.
Again, that's should be the normal process, right?
So the
We
normal
got
process didn't
on the
happen.
deliberative, when the deliberative took place, I was not aware that we had to have this information to the state by today. The normal practice is always that when we have an opening, we have a scoring committee, the scoring committee scores it, and we make sure that we try to have members from council, from the receiver, and from the staff. Unfortunately, I was put in a situation where we had to get the information to the state today. And we didn't have time to go through the whole process and bring everybody together to get all these scoring members. So we had to take the staff that we had yesterday and get them together to go through these packets and get it scored and get the information back to the state by this afternoon today. Like I said, we have the letters prepared. We have the information that we can provide to council to show how this decision came about.
any other questions, comments? Madam Clerk.
Councilors Gibson,
Abstain.
Green,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Davis,
No.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution. The Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby approve an agreement with First Tee Greater Philadelphia and the Boys and Girls Club Chester for the temporary use of a designated area in Chester Park for summer youth golf clinics beginning June 24th, 2024 through August 9th, 2024, which sets the terms and conditions for each party as to their respective responsibilities in working together to provide a positive impact on the lives of young people by providing educational programs that build character and instill life-enhancing values through the game of golf to the youth of the city of Chester. Further, it does hereby authorize the mayor to execute said agreement for and on behalf of the city.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, any comments? Madam Clerk.
Councilors Gibson.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution, whereas the following individuals have requested a handicap parking zone. Number 1, Anthony Paris Taggart, 817 McDonald Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 2, Stanley E. Swain, 2508 West 4th Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 3, Theodore McNeil, 2015 Edgemont Avenue, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 4, Bridget Flynn, 917 Upland Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 5, Cheryl's Shelton, 3008 West 11th Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 6, Lisa Whiteside, 320 East 20th Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 7, Barbara Dennis, 331 West 9th Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 8, Rodney D. Banks, 2017 Madison Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 9, Helen Perry, 1037 Butler Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 10, Clifford Hall, 716 Parker Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 11, Barbara Ballard, 236 West 22nd Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 12, Maria M. Gonzalez, 319 East 20th Street, Chester, PA, 19013. And number 13, Charles Paul Holloway Sr., 813 Barclay Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Whereas after a thorough investigation by the Department of Public Works, it has been determined the aforementioned individuals have met all of the required criteria and have a need for said handicap parking zone. Now, therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the proper city officials to install a handicap parking zone in the 800 block of McDonald Street, in the 2500 block of West 4th Street, in the 2000 block of Edgemont Avenue, in the 900 block of Upland Street, in the 3000 block of West 11th Street, in the 300 block of East 20th Street, in the 300 block of West 9th Street, in the 2000 block of Madison Street, in the 1000 block of Butler Street, in the 700 block of Parker Street, in the 200 block of West 22nd Street, in the 300 block of East 20th Street, and in the 800 block of Barclay Street in the city of Chester.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, any comments? Madam Clerk.
Councilors Gibson.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes.
Resolution, whereas the city of Chester hired W. Paul Fritz for the full-time Director of Planning and Zoning effective July 2nd, 2024, for 37.5 hours per week with no benefits and a 60-day probationary period. And whereas said employment is contingent upon said individual successfully completing a 60-day probation from the date of hire. And whereas the city is required by law to offer said employee medical benefits effective August 1st, 2024. And now, therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve, further, if said employee fails to meet the job expectations within the 60-day probation, said employee will no longer be eligible for the position and will be subject to termination from said position.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, any comments?
I do.
Go ahead.
I see on the resolution, it says effective July 2nd, 2024, with a 60-day probationary period, but the benefits are starting August 1st of 2024. So is that a miss?
No, benefits now start 30 days after the first date of employment.
When did that begin?
It's always been, it's been in the actual agreement with our insurance vendor. It's one of those things, no one really sat down and read through it. And when we read through it and talked with our benefit person, consultants, they said that that's what we should be doing. Most places do that. After your first 30 days of employment, you get benefits. So we're now starting to implement that according to the contract.
Okay, so that, moving forward, that's the new process. Benefits will start 30 days after, but there's still a 60-day probationary period.
Yes, but that's for the non-bargaining. Police have a different one, fire has a different one, and so does Teamsters. But for the non-bargaining and which is Mr. Fritz, non-bargaining. That's what's going forward from this point forward. Police and fire, they have a different structure.
Is Mr. Fritz here?
He is not here.
Okay. What I'd like to make a suggestion, because members of council, when we come in, we see new faces all the time, and we don't know who they are. So I think as a courtesy to us, you should make sure that we meet them and know who they are and where they are and what they're doing. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Gibson.
Yes.
Green.
Yes.
West.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Roots.
Yes. One moment. There's no resolutions for introduction. So we're going to go right to reports. We'll go to the chairs of each finance, or of each committee. We'll start with Councilman Davis, Budget and Finance Committee.
So good evening, everyone. The committee meeting scheduled for June 10th was canceled. There are no future meetings at this time. The meeting was canceled because all departments were not ready to present their fee ordinance schedule. So we wanted to allow all of them the opportunity to prepare themselves to present. And they weren't ready to present, so we had to cancel the meeting.
Thank you, Chair. Gibson Williams, Community and Economic Development Committee.
The committee has not met since the last council meeting, and there are no future meetings scheduled at this time.
I'm the Chair of Human Resources Administration and Appointment Committee. The committee has not met since our last council meeting, and there are no future meetings scheduled at this time. Chair Green, Parks and Recreation Committee.
The committee has not met since the last council meeting, and there's currently no meeting scheduled at this time.
For Public Safety, that's me again as Chair. The committee meeting scheduled for June 10th at noon was canceled. It says here there are no future meetings scheduled, but I believe we scheduled it for June 24th. So we'll double check that. It will certainly be advertised in time for that meeting, June 24th. Chair West, Public Works Committee.
The committee has not met since the last council meeting. There are no future meetings scheduled at this time, but Chief Leitner, it's my understanding that our meeting for Public Works may be pushed back to the middle of July because we're dealing with fees, and we're going to wait until everybody is ready to do the fee presentation.
Correct. We're trying to format the fees one succinct format, which is why it's been delayed. So we're trying to bring all the departments, all your committees. They're sending the fees to one central location, and we're going to put them all in one set format. I don't have a set date on that. I think three out of the 4 departments have already submitted theirs. We're waiting just on 2 other departments to get theirs finalized, and once that happens, we'll be rescheduling with all the committees to represent.
So, understood. And I would like to sit down with you to talk about other efforts coming out of that department that we want to look at, because I don't want to just sit and not have meetings when there are other things we can work on.
Okay.
Thanks. The Rules, Chambers, Intergovernmental Relations and Strategies Committee is myself, and we haven't met since the last council meeting with no future meetings scheduled at this time. Do we have a report from the controller?
Yes, we do. Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and council and members of the public. I wanted to announce that the end-of-year pension statements for all three plans and the Government Accounting Standard Board 67 and 68 schedules are now available for open record if anyone is interested in reviewing them. Also wanted to highlight, though we are still financially distressed and in bankruptcy, I wanted to commend the efforts of our finance team and those of the receiver's office as well for the significant deposits made into the plan over the past year. Proud to announce that the ending balance for the police plan in particular, which is one of huge interest to Mayor, Council, and the public, had a balance of $12.1 million at the close of 23. So we're not quite out of the woods yet, but we are definitely making significant strides, and I do commend the teams both here and the receiver's office for the efforts. Additionally, I wanted to request Mayor and Council to look into establishing a reimbursement policy because as we are reviewing accounts, we're looking at reimbursements and there's some questions about what items in particular are reimbursable. So it would be helpful if in your committees, finance perhaps, you can look at some standards that would help to regulate what's reimbursable and what's not reimbursable, and perhaps maybe a cap, because we don't want to get into a situation where we're looking at reimbursements for the year and it's looking like somebody's salary. So these are public dollars, and it's important that we're maintaining some standard of governance over what we allow for reimbursements and what needs to be excluded for reimbursements. So that is all from me at present. For members of the public or anyone who else is interested in knowing any open records requests that you have pertaining to the pension accounts for the city, you can always contact the clerk's office and we'll be sure to get that information out to you. If you are interested in reviewing the full report, it is a little lengthy, but if you are interested in reviewing it or want to have it for your records, you are always welcome to request it through an open records request. And that is all for me. Yes.
Controller, can you speak to where the plan should be? And if you can give us a highlight of what the plan looked like in 2020 versus the 2023 ending year balance, to give the public more of a glimpse of, you know, the improvements that has been made.
Okay, so low level, because again, it's a lot to digest, but I'll just share with you really quickly. Get to the page. Okay, so I'll just highlight some of the receivables from 2019 up until 2023. Keeping in mind that some of these receivables are also interest to past MMOs that weren't paid. So though we have a $12 million balance, that's really for the obligation, the monthly obligation, there are still MMOs that, past due MMOs that have not been paid. So for example, from 2019 to 2023 in member contributions, we've had figures, or I should say receivables in the amounts of $2 million, $6 million, $7 million, $5 million, $8 million. The interest, though, for 2019, as of 2023, was $2,352,995. The MMO interest as of 2020, because each year has its own MMO, was $1,955,625. The 2021 interest on the MMO was $1,541,485. The interest for 2022 was $8 $801,805. And the interest for 2023 was $584,013. So we're paying on the current ones and pushing back. So that's why 23's MMO interest is lower than 2019's. But it's a lot. It's probably better digested if you have an opportunity to look at the visuals. I do believe that these were emailed out to you as well. So what I will do is see if we can come up with something that's a bite size that the public can view, and it's a bit more digestible, so we can look at where we stand for 23 in a small clip, if that helps.
Thank you.
Anything else, Madam? Chief of Staff, you have anything to report? No report. All right, very good. Before we go into public comment, I just want to say that sometimes I mess up. So I messed up a little earlier. I did not intend to vote yes on tabling the ethics policy, but I did. I blew it. You can't reverse that. But I really want to see this go through, and I think there's been plenty of time to review. What I was really saying yes to in my mind was the fact that in 2 weeks, we're going to untable this. All the reviews and with input, whatever you guys want to do will be done in the next 2 weeks so we can move this forward. So my vote wouldn't have mattered one way or another as far as passing it, but I just wanted it to be on record that my intent was to see this ethics policy move forward in its first reading to move to its second reading. So.
Mayor, my apologies. I wanted to also inform both yourself and council that the end of year, I think I mentioned this in the last report, that I was still waiting on end of year review for disability pensioners. That hasn't been completed. There were no anomalies found, we'll say. There are some members who were contractually allowed to work, and we'll be doing the appropriate offset on those funds that they received in July. That's it, I promise.
Thank you. Justin, can you get me the list? While we're waiting for the list, outside on the table, there's this little slip of paper. You may have missed it. And what it is a survey. And we want to know how to better communicate to the city at large. And it's really tough to communicate through any one channel, whether it's the Scoop newspaper, the Daily Times, a website, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and they're all on here, Instagram, Twitter, TV, mail, email, a phone app, or a text message. So what we're asking you guys to do is to help us figure out the best ways to communicate to you, and we know it's going to have to be multiple channels. So on this, you'll check, what we want you to do is just check the top 3 and just leave it out there on the table. So real simple. If you didn't get it on the way in, please grab it on the way out. We are working with some communication specialists now, and we're trying to help them help us communicate better to the public. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we got 12. Here we go. We're going to start with Mr. Harry Crawford. Just come up to the mic, speak loudly and clearly. Get your mouth close to that microphone because it doesn't carry real well unless you're real close. So you got 3 minutes. The timer will come up momentarily. One second.
Okay.
Mr. Crawford. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Excuse me. My name is Harry Crawford, and I want to say hello to the mayor and also city council. Let me start with the first question is it my responsibility or is it city council's responsibilities to actually bring up comments on the potholes? Whereas I have talked about the potholes on coming off of the Holland Avenue exit, also on Township Line Road, also on Carter Lane. I have talked about those many times over the years, and all those still remain. One of the other items is they had marked off a lot of the parking areas on Township Line Road, and they were supposed to be changing that back, but that has not happened yet. The other item is, why is it only when there's a soccer game can you actually find the police in the city of Chester? As I have actually ridden through the city many times in the same day and have never seen one. But there's a soccer game going on right now, and there has to be about 20 of them down there. It just seems like to me there is more concern with that soccer game than it is with the people here. That's about it.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Novella Alexander.
Hi, Novella Alexander. You might not think this is important, but I had worked at an event downstairs a couple weeks ago, and I didn't know there was no stove down there. There was no hot water, and it was a disaster. We had grease where we had to wash dishes and stuff. There was no hot water. There was no table, space to put things at. So we had to buy a heater to heat the water, to put in the pans so the sternos would stay hot, so the food would stay hot. So I was just wondering why there was no stove or anything down there when people pay to have affairs down there.
All right,
That was all.
thank you. Jamil Cotman.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Good
Good evening.
Two things I came for. One is to thank everyone for coming out for our Ball Against Violence last Saturday. We had a great event. We had over probably like 300 kids that came out and played basketball down there. They enjoyed themselves. So thank y'all for definitely coming out and supporting one of my causes. Other thing is, I'm coming to talk about the summer food program. So I put paperwork in for the summer food program. My bid was $47,250. $10.50 a meal for 150 kids. But y'all accepted a bid for $80,000, $18 a meal. You go to McDonald's and get a meal less than that. This is crazy. Like, come on. Are we talking about just giving money out, just giving money? I don't care if it's grant money or whatever. Are we just giving money out, or what is going on with the city? If we talking about, like, come on. This is ridiculous. Come on. We gotta do better. Y'all talk about do better. We ain't doing better here.
Tony Alexander.
My name is Tony Alexander. I live at 2403 West 4th Street. I am a retired juvenile and adult probation officer after 25 years. I saw today again about the curfew, 9 o'clock. How can we be effective with the curfew when last Saturday we only had 2 officers on the street? So I just want to know, how are we going to be effective with 400 kids out there roaming the streets at 9 o'clock? How are we going to get them in the house? It didn't say that there was going to be any punishment. Is anybody going to be fined? I saw that it said businesses, but what's going to happen at 9 o'clock when the kids is out?
Thank you. Christopher Garrett.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens of Chester. I came before you to comment on the establishment of the Ethics Committee. However, and I was going to applaud each and every one of you for coming to this decision and looked at this as a step in the right direction for the city of Chester. The city is at a great crossroads right now with the receivership going on. We have the greatest opportunity to do some good and make positive changes in our community. Now, in order to take advantage of this moment, we must work diligently and carefully to make sure that once we are out of receivership, our city will run smoothly and successfully. The establishment of this committee does just that. It will hold each and every elected official and city employee to its highest of standards to ensure the safety and good quality of life for our residents. With this ordinance being tabled right now, all it does is continue to delay the work that is needed to be done here in our city. One of our largest problems concerning our city is our current financial situation, and the situation will continue to only get worse if we don't cooperate with our elected officials, or if we don't get the cooperation of our elected officials and all the authorities that fall under the city of Chester. For those who may not know, in the process of cleaning up our mess of finances that make up our city, the receiver requested documents and information from the Stormwater Authority and has been denied this information for a number of reasons. What makes the situation even more troubling is that 2 of our current council members serve on that board, receiving compensation and raising more questions than providing answers. It's issues like these that have come to light that only mark the tip of the iceberg of changes that need to be made in Chester. I hope and pray that this committee does get established so we can continue to move in the right direction to ensure our exit from receivership and to ensure our elected officials and city officials act with integrity in everything that they do. Thank you.
Mr. Brown Williams. Remind you, you have 3 minutes, but we can't wait to hear from you. I know what you need. You don't want to hear my needs. You can start from there.
Yeah, number one, I want to know why they killing them. They found a little boy over by my brother's house the other evening, 17 years old, laying by the dumpster. Yesterday, they found another boy dead. What's going on in this city? I see you on the television, but I ain't seen none of the rest yesterday. But something need to be done about it. Another thing, what are y'all doing down in the park? Because they're taking all the dirt, carrying down to Delaware. What y'all do, taking all the things out the dirt, the chemicals and stuff, and bringing the dirt back, or what y'all doing? Because they do that on some job. Because they have chemical in it, some dirt. You have to take it out and bring it back. Another thing, like Ron here, the kid ain't got nothing to do. I see Rocket Brown all of them on television 3 times a day. Talking about curfew and stuff like that. Hell, where they going for curfew? Like, it was taking up land. If they sat on the step, the police come in and shine the light on. Like right now, you got 40 police right down there at the stadium. You must got all the constables out of media, right down here to the stadium. We just like a prisoner in our own house when that thing open. You can't go on Holland Avenue. It's a disgrace. We still living in Jim Crow time, or worse. See, I know something about that. A lot of people don't know nothing about that, because I'm old enough to know about it. It used to be rough. We used to eat grease and thought we was eating gravy. They had no damn gravy. So a lot of things need to be done in this city. What y'all gonna do for the summer program? I ain't see the swimming pool open up yet. I tell you, I got a long time I can talk. Now last year, in 4th of July, I had one of my little grandbaby birthday party up there to the park. I paid him $400. A storm come up there, ain't much get in the pool. I come back, ask for my money, ain't get a dime. I had a bunch of kids, grandkids went up there. They played football for cheerleaders. A lot of men never get dressed up because they started fighting up there and raising hell up there. And so they throw that team out. So what y'all gonna do this year? Who gonna take the money for the cheerleaders and the football team? That's number one I wanna know. Because it should be a council member up there taking the money. to make sure people get treated fair. And every kid on the team play. Because that's the rules and regulations. I got the book at home. Some of the kids don't never play. Mama just pay the money, and the kids come home crying. It's a shame. I used to coach football and basketball and baseball around here. And every kid have a right to play. Bat twice, on the field one time at least.
5 seconds, sir.
All right, thank you. And another thing, since you the mayor, what you planning on doing for the kids? Is you gonna give some of the kids a job for the summertime, like they used to do years ago? They go around the city picking up paper, sweeping the alleys and different things. I wanna know that person right now while you right there. You don't have to think later and say that. Is you gonna give him some job?
All right, your time is up.
Yeah, I know, it's always something I ask you about something benefit for the kids.
I'm going to
It's
get
for
to
the kids.
everything.
It's not for me.
I understand. Stick around. We'll reply.
Yeah,
Miss,
we need a lot of things going on.
we do need a lot of things.
Who is the
Mr.
secretary? Who is the
William
secretary?
Brown. All right.
Who's the secretary on the board with y'all?
We've got Ms.
finance?
Kedra Irving needing that microphone right now. Ms. Kedra, thank you.
Good evening. Excuse my voice, I'm just getting over a cold. My name is Kedra Urban. I'm a resident in Chester on East 18th Street. And I'm here today to talk, to ask what is going on about the amount of abandoned vehicles that are being left on the street. I have called the city all last week, every day, and left messages. I have talked to different city people, just asking who to talk to. I was told that the police were in charge of ticketing and removing abandoned vehicles. I've called and left a message for Detective Battineri, I believe it is. All last week, I haven't gotten a call. Nobody's came by. We have signs and cones now. We have residents fighting and arguing. I'm old school. I believe that everything is a matter of a conversation. And if I was speaking to an adult that had some common sense and could have a conversation about parking and removing your vehicles that have been parked there for 2 years, and nobody has done anything. The stickers are not right. I've taken pictures. There's like I said, there's cones out there. There are now signs on the poles outside cursing people out. And I just want to know when somebody's going to do something. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Miss Zulene Mayfield.
Hello.
Good evening.
First, I want to make a statement about city council and the conduct here.
Bring the mic down a little, please.
I'm not loud, okay. Can you hear me now? I'm going to encourage members of city council to pass a code of ethics. It is absolutely necessary, and it would give you a framework on knowing exactly what you can do and can't do. Currently, as they said, we have 2 city council people who sit also on the Stormwater Authority. That is a direct conflict because you vote on things there that affect the city and vice versa. And you're receiving salaries from both of them. I believe that the city should start steps to sanction those council people. I believe that you should withhold paying them until they resign off of the Stormwater Authority. That's number 1. Number 2, the contract for Penn Home Cafe looks like old business, the way that old business used to be done in this chamber. If the bidding was not adequate, I think that it should be rebid. We understand the time frame and time constraint, but you all knew that there was a deadline, and nothing should be done on the last day, in my opinion. Third, this is a basketball and football city. I appreciate them letting me bring golfing to our community. However, we have courts that have no rims. The parks are not clean enough where our children can go to the park. need something for our youth, particularly our young men, to do. Last Thursday, Circle had a youth leadership meeting up at Uno's. And I can tell you that I was absolutely proud. We had 9 young men that walked from Highland Gardens to Uno's to partake in that meeting. Councilwoman was there. We had a whole side filled of children, eager to be taught, want to learn and want to lead. And I'm telling you now, they come. They come. Third thing, I want to shout out to the members of Chester Residents Concerned with Quality Living and our allies in the United States and worldwide. On Saturday, we had a group come here from West Point to meet with us and talk about environmental justice issues. Next month, we have a lady coming from the Ukraine to speak to us about LNG. But the members and the people that go to these meetings show up. We were able to get Delaware County Council to pass, they have a plan that in 3 years, they will send no more Delaware County trash to that Covanta Reroll incinerator. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And so will be that. And I'm done.
Ms. Margaret Brown.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm just going to reiterate on a couple of things. The young gentleman spoke on, Ms. Mayfield spoke on. I spoke this at City Council in February and said it to Candace when I spoke about the conduct of City Council. It's just deplorable about how some of you act, okay, when we get in here to City Council. We as residents, we're not here to listen to personal bickering. We're here for business. I wrote back then that changes for an effective environmental workplace, great leadership is needed the most. You must create an environment of trust, promote teamwork, motivate by leadership, demand accountability and communication, empower staff, and promote excellence. There is much needed discussion concerning appropriate change in the administrative department of City Hall. The administrative department is a public service to the Chester residents and communities at large by the mayor and the receiver. Mayor Roots, council members, it is your responsibility to become different, to alter the freshen the resistance of old Chester's corrupt ways. As residents voted for a new Chester change in leadership, all must naturally understand the changes and requirements which need also be adopted too. Undoubtedly, some changes will create frustration and anxiety systems, but who is not afraid of the unknown? Skipping on pieces. Elected mayor, Roots, and city council, please understand each of you are appreciated. I thank you for your efforts in making all departments strive to demonstrate core values: mercy, excellence, respect, integrity, and trust to one another and the residents you serve. So therefore, this ethnic promotion must go on, okay? It's like from February or January, we elected till now. I know we residents are tired of picking at one another. Do that privately back in your offices, but when you come out here, address your residents and public's concern. Thank you.
Alicia Downer. I hope I said that first name right. Okay. Alicia.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Councilmembers, City of Chester.
Good evening.
My name is Alicia Downer. I am at 6 West 17th Street in Nova Vista. I am new to the City of Chester, and this is my first council meeting. I thought that it would be
Thank you. Tania? Did I get that right? Alexander? Did I get it right?
No.
Tanaya, okay.
I have two questions. The first question I have is for, is about, so you said that the curfew, what other things are you gonna do to change, because that's not gonna change anything, people will kill people in broad daylight.
I'm sorry, speak up just a little teeny more. That microphone is not loud enough. Say what you said, just a little bit more so I can hear you, so I can write what you said. I'm sorry.
I said that, what if the curfew's not gonna change anything, because people will kill people in broad daylight? And then my other question was, what are you guys as councilmen, mayors, and things gonna do for the kids in the community? Because none of us know who you are. Like, nobody knows who you guys are. And nobody knows who the mayor is. To this day, I thought he was Kirkland still, but that was all. I just wanted to see if, like, you guys would come out to the schools and stuff, because I don't see you guys at the schools. I'm a cheerleader, I cheer, and I don't see you guys at the games. The football games, that was just my concern.
All right, thank you. I received a note that our state rep is here, Carol Kazim. Oh, there you are. Please. Yes.
Good evening.
The Collier Engineering, I'm not sure who they are, but I did want to notate that I see the big jump from, is this phone?
So that's why I asked her to speak. Like, it's like
It doesn't
here.
amplify well, but it does pick up for
The big jump to almost $1 million for capital projects. I'm not really sure what the capital projects consist of, but I just want to put it out there, just let us please have a transparent bidding process. I continuously keep seeing that. Also, just remember, we do have Union Hall down the street. I know that there are some things that probably can't be done directly, but I think it would be great to still put some of our community members with jobs. The curfew, I agree that that does need to be set. I'm actually glad that that is going to happen. I would like to ask if there can be more information and details as to what that would look like, meaning how would the residents all be informed? There are some children that are placed in a grandparent's house, aunts, uncles. Some may be older, may not be, tuned in into social media. How will businesses also be communicated so they can know after a period of time the students can't come in? When the kids are picked up, what is the next step? For children that are considered unhoused, in other words, homeless, where would they go? Are there partner organizations that you guys are ready to partner with to make sure that those children are placed or receive the resources that they need if they're walking up and down the street late night? Heads up, CYS is very, very, very slow. So before that is the first call, just keep that in mind. So we do have to work on that as a community. Is the city of Chester currently right now going to be pushing for Act 135, which is the Abandoned and Blighted Property Act, for a lot of properties right now that are blighted, to actually help with more housing opportunities and ways that we can actually enhance on economic development. I'm seeing where every time we want to reach out to owners, they didn't want to claim it, but yet haven't done anything with their building and it's fallen apart, and it's been like 10 years. So at that point, what is the city going to do to obtain the property, or at least give them what is their obligations to obtain the property? And lastly, I would like to know, do anyone know when the committees will be held at some period of time? I know you guys said no future planning, but I do ask this because I know people have reached out asking when will the pool be open, can they obtain permits to use Chester Park? They're just not really informed right now as to what exactly can they do and what's going to be open to the children. So that's all I have for today. Thank you. I think I have 16 left.
You got 12 seconds. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Salim. to
Good
speak
evening.
really loud, Mr. Salim.
Oh, yes. My name is Amina Abdul Salim. I live at 240 Passage Street in Chester. I just want to make a brief comment with you. I have, heavy notes, large notes that I accumulate as I sit back there. But just getting right to the point. We need this that you're speaking of. God is clearing us up. Certainly we need it with the Tornado law. Oneness of all of one can be on the same page that you look or court. What they're being. So this is what we are coming to. Bring us into that. Which reminds me, Abraham, if you will, sir. He was kind of different of God, so I said. For a reason that he didn't just accept anything. God purifying our hearts, and he allowing us to feel the truth, to hear the truth. And what Abraham did when he heard it wasn't the truth, he said, no, this is not my way. They gave him something else higher. No, this is not my way. He looked at it higher than the sun and the stars and so on. No, this is not my way. But when he got to the Lord, and that was his selling his soul, he said, now, this is my way. So this is going to put us on the topic of our oneness of the Lord, oneness of our Lord. So certainly I want to leave with this, leave with this. Second thought. We have gotten away from the original thought that our Lord had given us. And we have heard the expression, on second thought, on second thought, on second thought. So saying we want to come to that, just it said the first thought is first impression is the best impression. We want to get to the first impression from our Lord. I thank you, sir, and I pray that everything is good.
Thank you.
Fix that. I can't. That has to be.
All right, thank you for your comments this evening and questions. I'm going to go through these. But first, I'd like our Police Commissioner, Steve Gretzky, to come forward to address two of the questions that came up. Number one came up from a couple people. How are we going to be patrolling during this curfew period? And follow that up with how we're handling abandoned vehicles.
So first, for the big question about curfew, you hear curfew. From a police standpoint, and more from a father, is that it's not just about enforcement, it's about the educational piece and knowing where your children are at, your children's responsibility. And what we would like to do, what we want to accomplish, and I know you heard me say that it's 2 cops, but that's absolutely false. We had a total of 4 cops on, along with Operation Safe Streets. What Operation Safe Streets is where we pair up a Chester police officer with a state trooper. Sometimes our numbers do fluctuate. I'm not going to sit here and BS or be you any kind of cat, but I will tell you this. I stand in front of this community. I'm from this community. I'm a second-generation police officer, and I plead about the hiring process for the City of Chester Police Department, which I will give you some good news coming up within the next few weeks. We're bringing on 6 additional officers. 2 are from the city. I get a very good out of those schools. So back to it. This is nothing new. We had a police van. It's called the curfew van, and as you know, we have an SRO officer. School's no longer incessant. We take the SRO officer and we change his shift to the 4 to 12 shift, and we're going to pair them up with another officer and a state police. Believe me, we're not going to come out and start snatching kids up, taking them here and there. We want to go back to old school, taking the kids back to their parents, find out where they're at. One thing I'll tell you, from my age, young age, we didn't have social media. But now, once a party hits, social media hits, you have 10 kids, before you know it, 22nd next month was jumping last year. It's nothing new. We have put a camera up there, which we have done a phenomenal job. I got to give the county their props for lending us the camera. 21st and Edgemont was a hot spot. That area's dead. But now it's pushing it to other parts of the city. But that's what we're going to do. And I mean, what I want to do, my hope is to have a data, an Excel spreadsheet to see how many police contact. Because if we're tractor trailers, because I hear it all the time. And we've been really doing a phenomenal job. I promise you this, I will be up there tomorrow with Officer Jones, and we will address it. For the abandoned vehicles, there's two ways. There could be a health and safety where we can tow it immediately, or we're gonna have to sticker it and go through the process. But if it's flat tires, glass broken, something along like that, we can tow it, immediately. And I believe, that's it, but if you want me to go on to answer Harry, your question, in reference to the soccer stadium, it's kind of like a joint effort, but the city doesn't pay for it, the soccer stadium does. And it's not Chester Police, I have Upland, Township, the Sheriff's Department, it's other police departments to do that. I mean, depending on what time you drive to the city, I drive to the city all the time, there's cops out there, but again, I do have staffing issues, and I believe you, when we put this out, I hope you spread the word. I use social media to my advantage. I put the PT test ahead of time. I mean, you need to get back to the roots of the Wendell Butler, the Dickie Wilson, Regina Butcher's out, or sitting right there, not to call you out, Regina, but, I mean, you hear about cops doing this, cops doing that. I love to see a good homegrown police department. Thank you.
Hold it. Abandoned cars.
Abandoned cars is done by Officer Jones. You could call 610-447-8424. You could use the police app, or you can call my secretary, Shirai Cruz, 610-447-8402. I will leave a few of my business cards up here. That or email me.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Gotcha. I'm not giving you one of my cards. You know my house phone number.
All right, next we're going to put on the spot our Chief of Staff, Leonard Leitner, to address a couple items. I don't know why I put your name here. Oh, I know why I put your name here. Just want to address Mr. Crawford had talked about potholes on Highland Avenue, particularly that exit. It's horrible. Township Line Road. But Carter Lane is a city street. That's a street that we are responsible for. I can tell you in the 3 years, or coming up to 3 years I've been here, Mr. Crawford has been talking about Carter Lane regularly. So, Mr. Leitner, I know we're doing a survey right now of the conditions of all the city streets. How's that coming, and what will be the result of that effort?
So the survey, we've done what we call an engineering laser survey on all the roads in the street, or all the roads in the city of Chester, and that is now complete. What we're doing is putting together what we call a RMS, a road maintenance system program, and what that will allow us to do is evaluate each and every road in the city and put a cost to that. And when we finish that, what we will now have is a plan on how we're going to start putting together a systematic annual road maintenance program. So it's completed. We're finalizing the actual analysis and putting the cost together with that. You mentioned Colliard's Engineering, State Rep Kazim, you mentioned Colliard's. That's our engineering firm. It's not, they don't physically do the work, but what they're doing is our architect and engineering work. So they are actually finalizing that design program right now. We are also looking at costs. We're applying for several different infrastructure grants. We're reprogramming some of our internal funding to try to set aside money that will go into our capital project program and set money aside for each year that we can actually start addressing the roads. We had to start somewhere. We have the plan, we have the layout, and we're putting together the cost for each road. That should cover the roads. Anything else more detailed?
Yeah, one more thing. State Rep Kazim had mentioned blight and specifically Act 135. Are you familiar with that?
I am familiar with Act 135. What we're trying to do internally is, again, build our internal workforce staff. We have to have the staff here in order to implement that type of program. And again, our internal systems, from annotating the blight project programs, annotating the blight properties, and then at that point in time tagging them, making sure we have everything we need in order to implement the program. But we are looking more into the Act 135. Also, I think someone mentioned trees. I'll address that as well. We're in the process of putting together an RFP. The city doesn't have an arborist, and the city doesn't have the equipment to actually do tree maintenance or cutting down trees or pruning trees. But what we do have is, we do have funding set aside. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we'll be putting out a request for proposal to get a tree service company that will come in and look at all the trees throughout the city and start taking care of them. In reference to public right-of-ways, pruning those back, pruning the tree limbs back, dead trees, removing those dead trees, doing actual annual review of all our trees. They're going to be working conjunctionally with Public Works for the public right-of-way, and also working conjunctionally with parks to look at the trees in the parks. That RFP, again, should be going out in the next couple of weeks. We're hoping that we can award that contract at the latest August, but we're in the process of doing that as well. Summer feeding program. There's a lot more to this. There's always a lot more. I hear what many of you said is that waiting to the last minute. We did not wait to the last minute for this program. This program has been going on in the city of Chester for years. This wasn't a surprise to us. We knew that the program was happening. We budgeted for it in November 2023 when we did our budget. We prepared for this. When we submitted to the state at the beginning of the year for the grant, we submitted in, and they told us our time frame was June. Come to find out, once it went into the process, they changed the due date to have everything in May. So I do appreciate what you all are saying, but I would say that we don't just half do things. We look at it. The staff here is great. The staff doesn't sit here and wait and it's like it's a surprise we're going to do a feeding program. That wasn't the case. The state changed their requirements. The state changed when things are due, which put us on a timeline. The other thing I will address too is when you talk about awarding the contract, yes, indeed, we did have a deliberation on Monday in reference to addressing this and awarding the contract fairly. Times change. Again, then when they set that time frame for us, we had to abide by that. Now, either we don't do a summer feeding program or we have to adjust and move forward with the summer feeding program, which is what we did. In this particular case, there's more things behind the scenes on contracts. And many of you in here, you've been doing this a long time, if you've been around a long time, or you've had jobs where you know we have to submit paperwork. And if the paperwork is not in order, we get hit with penalties or fines. So there's always more to the story. So before everyone sits here and says that we did something or we didn't do it right, I ask you to always come and address me. You have an issue with that, you can come and talk to me. But we do it, and we do it right. And my staff, I will back them 100%. What they did it the right way. Now, things change. Documents aren't always where they're supposed to be. And when we have to award something, we have to award it right then. So questions, you're more than welcome to see me.
Thank you. So, Mr. Crawford, Mr. Crawford, you also talked about protection down at the soccer stadium. The police commissioner said it his way. I'm going to say it my way. The people down at the soccer stadium want to protect their people who come to the game. There could be as many as 18,000. They pay a lot of money every game for that type of police presence. It does look extreme. It does. I can't lie to you. You see officers from Chester, from Upland, from Aston. You see state troopers. You see sheriffs. And believe it or not, you never see as many as they would like to have out there, believe it or not. It is difficult to get in and out of, it's very, well, first, yeah, it is difficult to get in and particularly out of the stadium after the game. Obviously, people come, they trickle in. You know, some who want to come early, they want to get those prime parking spots, they want to tailgate. So it's a gradual build-up when they come in. But when the game is over, they all try to leave at the same time through our little streets. We put the lights on blink. If you're trying to get through, I know you can't. I know it's hard. It's just what we're dealing with right now. So I know it's an inconvenience for many of us, particularly those who may be on the road. I don't know how to, there is no way to resolve that. When they're gone, they're out the way, it's over. If you want that type of police presence in your neighborhood, you've got to pay for it. Now, as the commissioner said, we have a police force that's understaffed. We do the best that we can with what we have. I just noticed there's 3 Alexanders here. So Novella, I think I'm saying that right. Novella Alexander asked about the community room and its kitchen facilities. I would say anybody who wants to get a permit to use any of our facilities, make sure you check out the facilities first so that you know what you're paying for. There's never been kitchen facilities in our community room downstairs. So, you know, we apologize that it wasn't up to the standards that you were looking for, but please, anybody who wants to get a permit for the park or, you know, any of our buildings, you know, make sure you know what you're paying for before you engage in those contracts and put your money down. For Mr. Cotman, I really was happy to see that the Daily Times had a little article out there. That was great. Sorry I couldn't be there. And I would encourage you to set up a time with Mr. Leitner to find out what went on with the summer food decision. I tell you, I was one who spoke up on Monday during the deliberative that the difference in bids were pretty large. Now, we didn't have the contracts in front of us, so we weren't, as a council, you know, making the decisions ourselves, but we understood that there was going to be a scoring committee and that the decision would be made. So get the answers you want from the source. And I will also say that that food program, summer food program, has a pretty special place in my heart because when I was director of Parks and Recreation, it was a summer we did not have a summer food program because during that year, the vendor that we had used year after year after year at the very last minute went out of business. And it wasn't enough time to find a food vendor to do the program. So these things do happen. We want to have a summer food program. In fact, there's money in our budget because it's a reimbursable program. We actually have money in our budget to do this program, and if we don't do it, the money just sits there. We can't spend it for any other reason than summer food program. So I'm really happy that we're going to have a summer food program, and I saw the locations that it's going to be. It's going to be better than ever, or at least better than the year that I didn't have one. Tony Alexander, retired probation officer, how are we patrolling the curfew? I think that was answered by the commissioner. Christopher Garrett, I just want to make a couple corrections. What we're looking to do here is not establish an ethics committee, although an ethics committee is part of the ethics policy. We're looking to bring out an ethics policy here. And it's not just for elected officials and employees. It also encompasses our boards, agencies, and commissions. Mr. Brown Williams, Memorial Park, what you see are in those dirt piles is the start of the, what do you guys call it? I call it Lake Inferior. The Stormwater Authority calls it a retention pond. So that's what you're seeing is the start of that. Kids have nothing to do. It's a matter of opinion, but I will tell you we could do better from the city side to have more programming. We spent well over an hour today, myself and a couple others, beginning to put together what's going to be, I don't think we have a name for it, but it's going to be like a youth summit. So we're going to bring in the public and bring in people, organizations, nonprofits, former recreation people here in the city to just put everything on the table and see what we can do to get some programs out this summer real soon. So I think we're looking to have our, Justin, can you share with them what we're talking about, particularly like this Friday? We're going to try to start as early as this Friday to start assembling some of the groups before we have the larger meeting with everybody in the public who we would hope could help us chip in and find programs.
You want me to share about the summit?
Yes.
I think but we want to try to enhance what is already happening from the community and from the city side. And so the mayor's thought was to try to convene a summit for key community leaders, some youth, other people who are doing things, like he said, to put our heads together and see what we might be able to do this summer, more immediately, but also to think a little bit longer term about what summer programming could look like in the city moving forward. So, is that
That's good. Thank you. He talks better than me.
Well,
also,
I have a question. Will we all be included in that? So that we can
everybody,
know?
everybody's included. There won't be any gold-plated invitations. You'll all know when and where. So we need everybody's input. Mr. Williams also asked about the swimming pool. The swimming pool is not open right now because there's anything wrong with the swimming pool. In the last few years, we've invested, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, but over $300,000 in improvements to bring the swimming pool up to standard. There was a lot wrong with the swimming pool. There is nothing wrong with the swimming pool right now. We've resurfaced it. We have a new cover. We've fixed the surface of the pool deck. The baby pool has its pump and motor. We've changed the sand in the sand filter. We have automatic controls for chlorine and pH control. We fixed the locker rooms and showers. It's like it was back in 1999 when it was built. One of the issues that we have right now is just a delay in contracting out the pool management company that's going to run the program for us this summer. I don't think too many people, or you shouldn't have forgotten what happened last summer with the ghost employees and those issues. We do not want to go through that again. So we are going to spend the money to get a real management company in there. And can I make this announcement out loud right now? Can I make it? Can I make it? You had mentioned you bought a family membership or something along those lines. We're looking for the pool to be free to all this summer because of the, oh, okay. Because of the delay, and, it just takes a little time to get these things together. So the pool will be open, maybe not in time for Juneteenth. One other wrinkle we have is that the county has a health department now, and they need to inspect the pool in order for us to get a certificate to open. So we're looking to open the pool. You may see the cover come off maybe as early as later this week. We'll get the water circulating, get the chlorine, get the balance. It has to run for about 8 days, and then we can get the county down here to do what they need to do in order for us to get a certificate to open. That process started last year, and every year we have to get a certificate from them. Let's keep it moving. Plans for kids for jobs. That's a little tricky. I mean, we do have some young people hired to work the summer food program. We are taking some young folks from the Chester Education Foundation. They'll be working in various jobs around City Hall. I wish there were more jobs programs. In the past, they were always funded by generally state or federal agencies. That doesn't exist anymore. So we are bringing on some young people, though, for summer jobs. I wish we could take them on even younger than 18, but we're limited to 18 and above. Kendra Irving, we talked about the abandoned vehicles. Ms. Zulene, you talked about the golf program. I'm going to challenge, I'm going to punch back a little bit. We really need to bring every type of variety of sports that we can to this town, whether it's golf or rugby or tennis or flag football or anything. We've got 250 acres of parks. We've got tennis courts that are not used that we can turn into pickleball courts. We've got, well, unfortunately, our softball fields are being chewed up by the lake right now, but we would love to bring softball back. We're trying to bring baseball back, and I want to thank Labor's Local 413 for trying every year to get the Jackie Robinson Little League going. We help them out as much as we can. Thank you for mentioning that Delaware County Council has voted to not, over the next 3 years, the trash, let's back up a little more. In Delaware County, the entire Delaware County, all 49 municipalities, their trash comes to Chester to the incinerator down on Front Street. What Delaware County Council has voted on this week is that all that's going to stop. That trash will be diverted to landfills that the county owns. Now, yeah, that deserves a clap, but believe me, there's a backside to that. So the backside is it's going to cost them more to send trash to the landfill than it does to send to the incinerator. The other thing is the incinerator really works in thirds. There's the Delaware County trash, there's Philadelphia trash, there's New York trash. That's basically the three feeds that they get. So 1/3 of the trash, 3 years from now, will be eliminated from being burned at what we call Covanta, which is now Reworld. They've changed their name. You can bet that they're going to find somebody to replace Delco's trash, okay? I would say that that is likely to happen. They're probably out there trying to find some contracts right now. So although Delaware County trash won't be going to the incinerator, you know, if that business wants to stay in Chester, I'm sure they're going to work hard to try to find a replacement. So what this does give us, though, if Delco trash isn't there, it gives us a little oomph to go to Philadelphia and say, you know, we're not burning our trash here in the county. You guys do not renew your contract to bring Philadelphia trash down there. Without Delco trash not being burning there, we have nothing to fight. So that's that. Margaret.
What happens when it goes to the landfill? Is there an issue with that? I mean,
She
I'm
asked
just
what happens when it goes to the landfill. The only issue with landfills is that landfills fill up. So the issue is how long can they take it to a landfill, and can they expand the landfill? So that's really the only issue, but it does cost more.
Environmentally, there's nothing, no harm or any type of side effects, you know?
Well, I think the question you should ask is, compared to burning trash in your city and putting trash in a landfill, which one has the more harmful health effects? I'll leave that.
I would say the burn.
I would say the burn, yeah. Ms. Margaret Brown, thank you for your comments. I hope you've noticed, though, from the beginning of the year that the council meetings have changed, the agendas have changed. We've got the multimedia stuff up here so you can see it better. We're trying to do a better job getting the information out on, you know, streaming. But I will say this, just keep us honest. You know, when you see us doing wrong, do what you do. Just get to the microphone and slap us on the wrist, please. We actually need that from you. We talked about the trees. I believe you're still a high school student, Miss Alexander. Are you still there? Hi. So now you know what I look like. You know what we look like. Okay, I get it. Yeah, sure. Yeah, some of us are more recognizable out in the community to the younger people than others. I took a little offense to the fact that you haven't seen me at games. I go to all the high school football and baseball games. But now that you know what I look like, you know, you'll see me. I understand, and we have a, for that purpose alone, she's saying, you know, just seeing us out in the street and the community, we've hired Mr. Nasir Leach here to be our community engagement person, so he's been charged with making sure that happens across the town. I'm going to also say that I used to be a substitute teacher. Oh, before I forget, like one of my objectives is to be in a classroom at least once a week. Our last attempt to go into a classroom was it 2 Mondays ago? We were asked to come speak to the ethics class at Chester High School. You walk up to the front door at 8 o'clock and the power's out. So, you know, there's sometimes some issues there. But when I was a substitute teacher, I kind of felt like you. Like I looked at the students who didn't know who the people in city government was in particular, and I think it would be a great idea that every school would have our pictures up there. you know, whether you have Martin Luther King or any of the historic figures. We have historic figures right here, and it's your current mayor and council. I also don't see pictures of the superintendent, you know, of the school. So I think there needs to be a little more visual reminder in every school lobby as to who runs the school, who are the board members, who are your city government people. So hopefully we can get that done.
They asked her to put a picture of superintendent at the last school board meeting, and they did ask her.
Okay. All right, good. All right. I think that covers just about everyone and your questions. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments. Council, it's your turn. Where do you want to start? Let's start with you, Councilman Davis. You want to start down there? Council lady?
Yes, Ms. Tanaya, I'm sorry. Thank you for speaking tonight. That takes a lot of courage, and I appreciate you getting up and voicing your opinion, because your opinion matters. You are our future. And so if you let me know what games you have, I'll come to the games that I can. I will, say it again? Send me the schedule. I might not make all of them, but I'll make some of them. You know, I just found out that we had a flag football team. Did y'all know we had a girls' flag football team? Oh, they be out there playing, y'all. And I enjoy going to those games. And we took some pizza and things like that to the girls at one game that I went to. But if we know more, we can show up more, because that's what we should do. You should know who we are. So thank you for that statement, okay?
Councilman.
Thank you. I thank you for that statement too. I think it's important that young people come, you know, before they're elected officials, and, you know, let them know how they truly feel, and, you know, help us help you guys and help us improve the way we govern. And also, you know, it's important, you know, we're a small city, and so, you know, we're tight-knit community. And I know a lot of us are at a number of events every day and throughout the week. And we might can't make it to all events, but we do our best to try to really show our face in the community. And so I do thank you for coming. And I don't have much to say, but I do want to say happy early Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and also happy Juneteenth. And I hope that you guys will be at the Juneteenth celebration down at Memorial Park on Saturday. And also on Sunday, there will be a Juneteenth and a Father's Day parade. And so I hope you guys will join the Father's Day parade. It will start at 7th Street Courts, come down 7th Street and down Avenue of the States and in here at City Hall. So it's my hope that you and your families come out on Sunday as well, and have a great week. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. And I want to thank Tanaya for your comments. And Kedra, I'm glad you came out, because you and I talked the other day about the abandoned cars. And so I will be following up with the commissioner about that situation on your street. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. And that's pretty much, I was going to talk about Juneteenth. If you're going to be a vendor at Juneteenth on Saturday, check-in time is 8 o'clock, and you have to be set up by 11. And the event starts at 12, so we're looking forward to a good time on Saturday. So,
Ms. Jones, what time does the parade start? 2 p.m. So Sunday, 2 p.m. the parade starts. Thank you.
So good evening, everyone. In regards to the comment from the young lady, Ms. Tanaya, I couldn't agree with you more, and I completely understand where you're coming from. Thank you for your comments. With the utmost respect from the youngest person up here on council, I think it's imperative that we are connecting with the youth in our community. One thing that I would say that for me is, as a current coach for the football team, Chester High, and all those being my friends, you know, it's kind of hard for you to say you don't know who I am, but I really don't try to. If you did meet me, I didn't introduce myself as Councilman Davis. I'm just Quan in the community, because, like I said, those are my friends, those are my community people. So that's just me as a member of the alumni of the football team, the track team, and the basketball team here in this great city of Chester. I understand where you're coming from for sure. As far as Juneteenth and everything like that, I encourage everybody to come out this Sunday for the walk. I'm looking forward to it. Me and Councilwoman Gibson, we all, but me and Councilwoman Gibson are working hard to celebrate our graduates tomorrow at Ethel Waters Park for some food, refreshments, music, and just a good time from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. In regards to the new curfew, we don't want to get anyone in trouble, so we will be shutting everything down at promptly 8 p.m. to get everyone home safely, so that we don't have any in problems with the new curfew and the police department and everything like that, to be in compliance with everything that's going on. So that's what I wanted to say. In regards to a comment that Chief Leitner made, I think that is imperative that people actually start coming to City Council and City Hall on the regular and meeting with council members and employees here to understand what's actually going on behind the scenes, rather than, maybe having conversations with individuals in the community and hearing one thing and going off of that, what you hear, rather than hearing both sides of the story, because people come in here sometimes and they say things that aren't necessarily true, and you just didn't get both sides of the story. So really inform yourself on what's going on behind the scenes, so that way you can make informed comments and decisions on what you're speaking on. So that's something that I wanted to address as well. So thank you.
Mayor, is Ms. Mayfield still here? Or
She's right there.
Okay, I just wanted to comment on her young people with Circle. Ms. Mayfield, your group of young people are wonderful, and I enjoyed meeting them the other night. And thank you for the work that you're doing with them and helping them to understand how important environmental issues are. So I really enjoyed that. Yes, yes. Okay, okay, thank you.
I'm going to piggyback on that. I joined Miss Zuline when she had are they considered cadets from West Point? They were cadets from West Point. Now, West Point, oh, Chief, I was like, you would have loved this, being the Army guy that you are. We had literal cadets from West Point down here in Chester. It was about, 8 of them, 9, 10, maybe about 9 of them. A couple instructors. They were all of color. They were big and bold and bad, but they were, getting a tour, the environmental tour that only Miss Zuline can do. It was just great to have someone of that ilk, in our town, because when you're going through a place like West Point or Annapolis with the Naval Academy, or down in Colorado Springs at the Air Force Academy, or the Coast Guard Academy, those are the top of the top, breed. So thank you so much for bringing them down. That was really special moment for me. I want to also thank Miss Madeline for doing the prayer today, and it may be the first time we've had it done in both English and Spanish, and that was really, really special. And speaking of our Spanish Hispanic community, I want to recognize Abraham Rodriguez. Can you please stand? He came past the office the other day, and we had a really nice connection just to talk about, the cultural similarities between the Spanish Hispanic culture and the Black culture. And it was a real honest, right between the eyes discussion. Really looking forward to talking to you guys more and spending some time more with you guys and fellowshipping with you. That was really special for me. What is it, Miss Pyatt? Well, get to the microphone and announce your home buyers. No, to the microphone. You got to go to the microphone. No, you got to get to the microphone. It's for the people. Yeah, pass her a microphone, please.
The City of Chester is having a home buyers homeowners fair this Saturday at 308 West 3rd Street. Registration starts at 9:30 and it's from 10 to 2. 10 to 1. I'm sorry, 10 to 1.
Thank you.
Enough time to go to the Juneteenth Festival.
Don't be shy to promote y'all stuff here. That's what it's all about. And again, I don't want you guys to miss this. This little slip of paper is sitting right outside the door. Please, you just have to check the 3 ways that you check in the most, how we can communicate with you. We really want to proactively find ways to reach you guys, get the information out. What's not on here, and what is going to be an important piece are our block captains too. So the whole point of having block captains around the city is to have that direct communication between city government and the neighborhoods. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. A lot of you are here. It's really important to see you. This meeting's adjourned. Ooh, I hit that one.